All right, just some party and wrap-up remarks here. So we started this semester talking about what moral philosophy is and why to study it. And this is from Wolf, who was one of the first reading assignments that we did, and he said that at its best, moral philosophy, what can moral philosophy do? What can it practically accomplish? Is help you develop your own moral outlook on life. By this, I mean that it can help you come to a sharper sense of what does and does not matter from a moral point of view. Reduce that a little bit. Moral philosophy can help you form a view of what considerations do and do not need to be taken seriously and how we should develop our reasoning, attention, and emotions. Most importantly, it can help you think through the nature of your relationships with other people and with other things of value, such as the animal world or the natural environment. It can help you think about how best to use your talents and energy and what goals in life should be. What moral philosophy can also have implications for how you should try to influence and, where appropriate, educate those around you. We'll see that many moral philosophers have offered guidance about particular situations, but often the best moral philosophers do is inspire us to come away to a way of seeing the world and our role as moral beings within it. Don't know why I did that. So here's again, just went over this, but a list of the basic main considerations that we covered this semester, right? So rational self-interest, self-interested but voluntary and rational agreements, intentions, motives, and maxims, universalizability, consequences, ends, goals, and teloses, character traits, empathy and care, corrective justice, love thy neighbor, authenticity, and responsibility to or for the other, right? So lots of different moral considerations there. In the wrap-up lecture for today, one of the things people often ask is, are there attempts to synthesize these? So I went over a couple of those in the wrap-up lecture there, just to review that. Rachel's, who we've seen a couple of times this semester, said that the way to do that is to begin with a modest conception of human beings as rational beings. Rationality requires impartiality. Right conduct is following the best life plan, but it has to include principles like promote everyone's interest equally unless their voluntary conduct merits deferential treatment, including additional motives and values like friendship and love and these sorts of things, which are not really included in some of the theories that we've looked at, and should accept direct and indirect strategies for promoting common interest and acting individually. So he talked about a two-level utilitarianism and how it can account for some things that utilitarianism has been thought to come up short with, but says it's a modest conclusion and should be open to revision. In another more recent book by Sturba, he said that practical ethics matters more than theoretical disputes. Well, what we covered in this class is primarily theoretical disputes, right? Philosophers have focused on which theory is correct, true, or most reasonable, etc., which gives the appearance of persistent, intractable disagreement between theories. But if you focus on how moral theories can function in the real world with real cases, convergence emerges. So his core thesis is that major theories appear to conflict. Again, deontology versus utilitarianism versus virtue ethics and so forth. But when refined to address objections, they seem to converge on similar conclusions. I mentioned this at the beginning of the semester, but it's not like deontologist tells everybody to lie and utilitarianism tells everybody to tell the truth, right? They disagree over justifications, right? Rather than, generally speaking, all of them endorse keeping your promises and telling the truth, right? What justifies the differences or the exceptions is where some debate is. And so when these theories are refined to meet those objections, they tend to converge on similar conclusions. And so agreement and convergence between theories emerges at the level of practice. Hence the title of the book, The Triumph of Practice Over Theory and Ethics. Even more systematic account to try to do this is Parfit's On What Matters, where he develops triple theory that aims to synthesize some of the main insights from rival moral theories like utilitarianism, deontology, and contractualism. So he comes out with this normative principle that says an act is wrong just when such an act is disallowed by some principle that is optimific, That means a principle that would not maximize well-being and good outcomes. It's uniquely universally willable, so there's the Kantian element, and it's not reasonably rejectable. There's the contractual element to it. And then, as we just said, Wolff mentions, moral philosophy in the real world with real world problems. Philosophy is often thought to, and is often dismissed as too abstract and unconcerned with real things. It's very weird because most people, in fact, all conscious beings, I'm pretty sure, have non-empirical philosophical beliefs that inform who they think they are, what's real, and what's valuable to them. So it seems kind of weird to dismiss that out of hand. And it's certainly the case that all of us have to confront a lot of different moral problems every day. So we got to worry about, whether this AI stuff has guardrails on it. So, you can read about, and again, these are all from popular media, the philosopher trying to teach ethics to AI developers. She left OpenAI and went to Anthropic, in fact. A woman says a chatbot pushed her son to suicide, and these guardrails are crucial for it. It looks like AI psychosis is becoming a real thing in people. Should I hit myself in the face with a hammer to adjust my jawline? So again, what's that doing to me? And is it okay to, as we just said, to promote that sort of thing on social media just because it gets me a paycheck? I think he crashed out on methamphetamine recently here. Aristotle says do things in moderation, but for methamphetamine, there is no moderate, right? It's not like you're just a casual user typically of methamphetamine, right? Is it okay that online retailers are using AI to adjust prices based on what they believe your income to be? Or if you're buying the same product as me, should we be charged the same for that? Smart AI policy means examining its real harms and benefits then. Even broader on a more, pushing into social morality and politics. What happens when artificial intelligence quietly reshapes our lives? When you're no longer dealing with human being to human being, but it's a relationship mediated by some kind of technology that can nudge and manipulate you. Worry about the norms that govern a free society as opposed to the rise of techno-feudalism. A guy from Palantir just published a manifesto, and it's very close to what Curtis Yarvin argues for. They are critical of democracy and in favor of basically, techno-feudalism, where, if you don't have enough of social credit, maybe you don't get to leave the neighborhood, right? So all of these sorts of things are facing us, not to mention, extremism, propaganda, and all these things that can influence us. So hopefully, by studying all of this stuff over here, you're a little bit better equipped with some reasoning skills and some insights about what kinds of moral considerations do and do not count and matter more than others, that we're all a little bit better to address those issues, both as individuals in our personal lives and as, members of a free society, in order to keep it a free society. I don't know about y'all, but I like freedom. But freedom has limits, right? Each one of those theories had a way of justifying a liberty-limiting principle to draw restrictions on that. So again, that's my hope, that people come away from class a little bit better equipped than they were at the start of the semester to address some of those issues, even though we focused on some pretty heady abstract principles. All right. So that's what I have for the semester. I'm going to pass back your exams to you here, and good luck on all your final exams and final projects. Again, no class on Thursday. I'll be in my office most of the day, except for 10:30 to noon, and up till 4 o'clock I should be there. So start again about 8:15, except for that gap in there, to about 4 p.m. Avalet. Noah Piper. Oops. Madison Allen. Daniel Wright. Sabrina. KJ. The grades were pretty good. There were several hundreds. I think the average class average was like a B or a C plus. So compared to the first exam, the last two exams have been pretty good. Keep that going. Josiah Richardson. John. Melissa Daggs. Martin. Karina. Jackson Dickerson. Brendan. Ari. Aiden Bourne. Is it Stephen Collins? Giancarlo. Sorry. Gary Taylor. Ortiz. Pretty good job on that one. You've been doing well this semester. John was done here. Eric, go. Aaron, is it Zoot or Root? Root? It just looks like a Z to me. That's you right there. It's okay. Dex Watson. Ronan. Sean. Jaden Young. Claudia. Alexis. Caden Valentine. Take care of him. Terrence Walker. Kadisha. Jackson. Caden Benjamin. Wade Dwyer. Levi. Christopher Davis. Anthony Hernandez. Lauren. Folks.
Have a good weekend.
You too. Y'all take care of yourselves during finals. Make sure you don't run yourself ragged so you're in good condition to take an exam. A lot of people shoot themselves in the foot during final exam. All right, Daniel, just make sure you hold whatever office hours you got left, and I think we're pretty good.
All right.